So I'm sitting here in my car on the way back home. I was out of town this morning. I'm sitting here at the gas station at the local Sheetz here where I am. And thought I would do a very quick recording while I'm sitting here. You can probably hear Rick Astley in the background. No, this is not a Rickroll. Anyway, so the other recording that I did, I mentioned that I was not 100% sure about October 7th and 6th. And I mentioned why. I said that it was because when it comes to the prophetic, we as human beings only understand things in part. And even though a prophecy may very well be true, it may be that we don't understand it in its entirety. And so when it quote unquote doesn't come to pass, we get frustrated and we immediately point our fingers to the messenger and we say, "Thou art false." And sometimes they are false, right? But something in my spirit, I don't know. This is different somehow. I can't put my finger on it and I can't explain it, but it is different somehow. And I know a lot of people have pretty much gone on to resume their normal lives and really not think about this anymore. I haven't. I'm still watching, and like I said before, that's not a bad thing. Continuing to watch is not a bad thing. Anyway, I have found some other YouTube channels, in the interim, and some of them that have had some interesting observations. I'll mention in the description if I can. As you can tell, I'm new to all this, so it may take me a bit to figure out how to do that, but I will try. And some of them have had some pretty interesting insights. Ooh, there's the guy with the trash. I hope he doesn't ram into my car because I just got my car back from the dealership to get some work done. But I think he's good. Anyway, one of the observations that they made that I heard that was really interesting was the fact that when Joshua spoke, and I have a photograph of, let me bring it up. I have a photograph of the exact words that he spoke. And he said, "From the time that Israel became a nation in 1948, there will be 77 years to the Exodus. On the 23rd and 24th of September 2025, I will come to take my church. Then afterward, there will be a 7-year tribulation on those left behind. Then on the 15th of September 2032, I will return to earth as king." So one thing that people have observed, and this struck me as well, he used the word Exodus. And people have asked the question, well, why would he use that term? Why would he use that terminology? Why not just say, hey, I'm going to rapture the church? Or even better, why not just say, the church is going to be raptured out on date X and date Y? But he didn't phrase it like that. And that's what I mean when I talk about how sometimes we don't understand things. When we first look at them, we think one thing, and then it turns out that in reality it's something different. Joseph Allen, who is another YouTuber, did a really interesting study on the book of John, where he pointed out a lot of different instances where Jesus said things the disciples just didn't understand, and they didn't understand them until later. And I'll mention his podcast or his YouTube channel as well in the description. But so the question was, why would he say Exodus? And people have been pointing out different things about Exodus chapter 3. And I'll read that part that they've been pointing out. And I just want to add one thing that I'm in my car, right? Got time. Got time on my hands. So I'm listening to Exodus as I'm in the car. And something else kind of, jumped out at me that actually made me chuckle out loud. And I thought I would share that. So this is going to be quick. But anyway, if you go to Exodus chapter 3, let me bring out my Bible application here. All right, Exodus chapter 3. This is when God meets Moses in the burning bush. And he says, And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians. Sorry, out of the hand of the Egyptians. I don't have my glasses on. Anyway, that's the verbiage that he used. I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. So he said, I'm here. And what am I going to do? I am going to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. And so if you were Moses and you heard God say that, I'm here and I'm going to deliver them. And Moses knows his people. He understands their afflictions. That's why he was talking to them about, being kind to one another. That's why he killed the Egyptian. He even though he was raised in a palace, he was empathizing with his people. He knew who his people were. And so when God said to him, I am come to deliver them, his heart must have leapt like, oh, this is great. And of course, God went on to tell him, hey, you're going to be the one that goes and talks to Pharaoh. And of course, he balked at that. But still, his heart must have leapt when he thought, finally, we're going to get deliverance. And then, he finds out how it's going to happen. He's going to go with Aaron. And, there must have been, he's a human being, right? There must have been things that he thought were going to happen. I'm going to go down there. God's going to work some miracles. And we are out of here, right? Boom, 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 we're gone, right? So what happens? As soon as he goes down and has his first audience with Pharaoh, how does Pharaoh respond? He doesn't say, yes, you guys can go and worship your God like you've requested that you be allowed to do. He doesn't say that. His response is, you people are idle, and if you weren't idle, you wouldn't be asking me, Mr. Pharaoh, to let you go and worship your God in the wilderness. No, you guys are idle. You're not working hard enough. I'm going to take all the straw that I've been providing to you to make these bricks. I'm taking it away. You guys go find your own straw. And then I'm not going to diminish the tally of bricks that you owe me one small bit. So his reaction was the opposite of probably what the expectation was. Like, wait, we're supposed to be delivered here. What's going on? And if you read in Exodus chapter 6, I believe it is. Let's see if I can find it. At the very end of that chapter, we see what Moses' reaction is. He said, and Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Lord, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people, neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. And when I read that, like I said, I chuckled. Because I thought to myself, wow, aren't there parallels between what Moses said at that time and what people are saying now? They're like, Joshua is false. You told Joshua that you were going to be rapturing us on such and such a day. You haven't raptured us at all. Ergo, Joshua was false. And I just saw that parallel. And I don't know, when you read Exodus, and I'm going to, after I leave this gas station, I'm going to continue on my way and turn this, back on and listen more to the book. But it's remarkable when you read it and you just start to see the parallels between what's happening now and the course that we're on now and what happened then. And I was talking to somebody recently, and they made a statement that really, really struck me. They said, somebody had asked them, if you had read all the prophecies about Jesus, and then you were living during that day, would you have read those prophecies and known enough from what was read to really understand exactly how it was going to all play out? Would you have been able to go point for point for point for point and say, yep, it's going to play out this way, this way, this way, this way? It's easy in 2020 hindsight to see it, but when you're living it, when you're walking it, when you're going through the journey, do you see it? Can you see the forest for the trees, or are you just bumping into trees as you go? That really made me think, because I do believe that we are in a remarkable time right now, and we are on a journey. And we're trying to look at what we've been given and to make sense of it. And it's not easy. It wasn't easy for the people during Jesus' day. and it's not easy for us now. But I am not yet ready to say all this is false. I'm going to continue to pray. I'm going to continue to watch. And actually, the more I do, the more I start to think to myself, no, on the contrary, all of this is true. Anyway, thanks a lot for listening. I'm going to get my car filled up and get back on my way. I will post this when I can. And thanks again for listening. God bless.